Whatever the hour, whatever the film or the Eurovision drama, it's coffee time. This is Emmanuel calling from Coffee Break, where we take a break and discuss about films, Eurovision and much more. Grab yourselves a mug of hot tea or coffee, take a sip and let's dive into this. Let's talk about my predictions for the first semi-final of the Eurovision Song Contest 2026. So, who do I think is getting in at the grand final of the Eurovision Song Contest in Vienna? I have a few countries that I think are locks, which means that I think that they're definitely going through the grand final, and then there are a few countries that I think are out, that I think they're not going through the semi-final, and obviously we're not going to see them being performed again at Saturday. So let's get into the countries that I think are definite qualifiers first, and then we'll move on to the countries that I think are definitely out, and then we'll discuss a little bit more about the ones that I'm more on the fence about, the borderline qualifiers for me. So, and then at the end, I'm obviously going to give you my final predictions for the first semi-final of Eurovision 2026 before the rehearsals, before the first and second rehearsals, because staging is half the ingredient, right? It's a very key component of an entry and its chances of inching through the Eurovision final. So these predictions are based purely on the song, on the studio track, and the staging potential of each entry, as well as a few voting patterns and honestly just vibes. And also the running order position does matter a lot of the time, so that's going to be a factor as well. But staging, the visuals are something that definitely will change my predictions coming forward. And yeah, let's just dive into this. Let's not digress. So the first country, in no particular order, that I think is definitely going through, it's actually one of my personal favorites this year, it's Finland. So Finland is my pick for the second best song of Eurovision 2026. I think it's excellent. I love that song. It's so Eurovision in a very in the best way possible. I think that it's performed so brilliantly. It's I love that entry. And we have seen the staging in the national selection of Finland, and something, I mean, I'm pretty sure that it's going to be copy and pasted on the Eurovision stage with a few sort of tweaks and perhaps parts of it that are going to be elevated. So, and was already great in Finland, so I can't imagine it not going through. I mean, does it win the semi-final? Remember, juries are back this year, which I'm so grateful. And yeah, I think that juries are very necessary in the semi-finals as well, because it's a small anecdote here. Do you remember the song from Azerbaijan in 2022, the Fade to Black? I love that song. I hear it on Spotify and I really like it, and that got 0 points from the public, from the televote, and it still made it through with a fair difference in the points from the entry that came 11th at that semifinal, which is wild. So basically the juries saved that entry. So we need music experts to sort of award and reward songs and entries of merit and of quality, and that was such a prime example of that. So I think that Finland has a fair chance of winning the semifinal because it has both jury and televote appeal, I think. But still, this is not a conversation about who do I think is winning the semifinal, more so than who do I think is moving forward. And I think that Finland is definitely qualifying. The next country that I think is going through, it's actually my home country, Greece. Now, the song is not my thing, it's not my cup of tea. I do not listen to it on a regular basis. I don't listen to it at all, to be honest, and I do think that it can be noisy, fairly noisy in places, and the lyrical content is a bit too obvious for me, but that's fine, that's totally fine. I can totally see the appeal here. It's a very fun entry, a little bit messy, but a really fun entry, and I think that it's definitely going to go big with the televoters. Now, the jurors, not so much, but hey, I mean, if Johnny Cash and Kaya, and I'm of course referring to the Estonian entry from 2025 and the Finnish entry from 2023, right? And yeah, I mean, those songs, they tend to do very well with the televote. They tend to do surprisingly, shockingly even, well with the jurors. They don't end up winning. They rarely do. But still, I think that songs like, Cha 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 and Europapa and Espresso Macchiato, I think Ferto is in that league and of songs, and I think that it's definitely qualifying. I mean, it has a killer running order, very very beneficial for the genre that it's that is representing, and I think that it's definitely going through. I mean, it's just going to be so eye-catching and so catchy in general, and I think that it's memorable and really fun. It brings me, and not just me, but a lot of people, joy. And yeah, those songs just, it's a lock. Greece is a lock. The next country that I think is definitely going through, and I'm sure not a lot of you are going to disagree with this, it's Sweden. Now, I know that Sweden has the death spot, which means that it's drawn in to perform second, which is considered the spot where a lot of the entries that perform in that spot don't do very well, but that's mostly been a grand final thing, because yes, no country has won from the second slot, but a lot of countries in recent memory have qualified from their semi-final, even though they were performing at the death slot. Poland comes to mind last year, and even even Brunette from Armenia qualified from second place, and what was the Tayadora from Serbia? I was really into that at the time. The live performance did let me down a little bit. It was a little bit underwhelming, but it inched through. So yes, I think Sweden, with their powerhouse reputation and the song and the staging that we saw in Melodifestivalen, are all indicators that Sweden is going to do very well and might even win their semi-final It's very likely, I think, and the song and the performance, everything is just it's on point, and it's a proper club track, and I'm here for it. I think it's definitely going through. Congratulations, Sweden, you're once again part of the grand final of the Eurovision Song Contest. They should be Big Five at this point. I mean, with Spain missing out this year, there's a slot open for a Big Five country, and Sweden, with their resources and their honestly near flawless track record, they should definitely be contenders, unless Spain returns, which is totally fine as well. So moving on to the third song that I think is definitely qualifying, and it's Serbia. I think Serbia is going to do very well. First of all, the song, it's a very good song, and I listen to it. I do like, I mean, rock entries generally appeal to me. I like them, and so this definitely is up my alley. I don't believe it's in my top 10. No, it's not in my top 10, but I do really like it, and there is a release about this song. I love it. It has emotional depth, but it's also very empowering. It has such a beautiful flow to it. I really like the Serbian entry, and Lavina, they're closing the show. It's such an inspired closer, honestly. The lead singer has a Måneskin lead singer going on visually, and the staging at the national selection at Serbia was a little bit lackluster, to be honest, but they're definitely going to they have a lot of room for elevation, and I think that they're going to pull off a very entertaining performance, and one that is definitely going to earn them a slot. Yes, they're definitely going to qualify, is what I'm trying to say. And yeah, I think that those are it, right? No? Oh, there's one last country that is perhaps a little bit controversial to place it in the locks, that the countries that I think are definitely qualifying, but to me it is a lock. It's actually a kind of a slam dunk, which is really odd to say, because it's just not the song that sort of screams slam dunk, but I think that it would be such a shocker if it didn't go through. And without digressing, I think that Moldova is definitely going through. I know it's all over the place. That song it's a hot mess, and for me it's actually my choice for the weakest song of the overall contest this year. The lineup, it's just not my thing, but I do think that I do enjoy watching it, and it's a fun song and a fun way to open the show, and honestly it brings so much joy. Even though I do not like the song, if we combine some other ingredients of other entries that I think are better songs perhaps, and songs that appeal to me more, but those ingredients maybe sort of brings those songs that I like down, then Moldova, with their very infectious, fun energy, can actually make even me, a person who would not respond to this kind of music, pick up the phone and vote. So yes, I think that Moldova is definitely, I mean, you can never write Moldova out. Never. I mean, even with terrible songs. I mean, My Lucky Day, or that song was just borderline insufferable in the studio version, and I still do stand by that. But it came top 10 because it had that really eye-catching, visually arresting stage performance. And yes, you can never write them off. I mean, the 2022 entry, yes, that was also, oof, the studio version is just, I can't listen to that. And Viva Moldova is sort of in that league of songs I could never, but, you know, again, top 10 finish. Didn't they come top 5 with the televote? I mean, it's insane. You can never write Moldova out. And yes, I think that this year is just another one of these examples that Moldova is just an underdog and a dark horse always. And this year I'm not buying the, oh, it's not going to appeal to the juries. I mean, it's going to be a smash hit with the televotes, and juries might embrace its energy as well. It's not a radio track though, and the vocals are not there for the juries to reward them. If the juries don't completely tank this entry, I think that it's a definite lock. And there is one more country that I didn't talk about that I think is going through, and I promise it's the last one. It's one of my absolute favorite songs. I love that song, and I think that it's brilliant, and it's Israel. Politics aside, I don't really want to get in the controversy about the participation of Israel in the contest. I'm all about celebrating music, celebrating culture, and celebrating people and artists. And I don't also see a path for it of not qualifying, because it's a radio ready song, and it's so polished, but it also has so much soul. It's so just emotionally deep, and the transitions between the different languages is seamless, and his voice, it has a raspy quality, but it's also so powerful. It's just an incredible song. I love Michelle, and I think that it could be a worldwide hit. Honestly, it's just so well produced and performed flawlessly. So yes, I think that Israel, with their recent track record, I think that he's going to be a contender of winning the televote here, not because of the political undercurrent of all of this. I mean, that does play a role here, but there's also a huge diaspora, and which is true for other countries as well, but Israel has, I mean, by a margin, the largest diaspora in all of Europe. And with the current times, I think that this diaspora vote is even more vocal about its support for this entry, for the entries of Israel in the past few years in general. So this is my take on this, and I think that Israel is definitely earning a spot in the grand final of Eurovision 2026. So my final, I mean, for now we haven't had the first or the second rehearsals yet, but my picks for who do I think are definitely going through is Moldova, Sweden, Greece, Finland, Israel, and Serbia. Now let's move on to the countries that I think are not going through, that they don't have a single chance, dead on arrival. I know it's harsh, but hey, this is the way that I feel, and I'm going to be honest about it. So the first one of those countries is Belgium. Now, this song, there's just something about it that it's annoying. I mean, it's a little bit grating, honestly, grating on my nerves a little bit. I mean, the beat in the chorus is fairly catchy, but the rest of it and the lyrics are just completely rub me the wrong way. It's it's very dark, and I mean, if Red Sebastian, which was a proper club track, and if Musti from Belgium a couple of years, right, 2024, that was before the party is over. Yes, that was a brilliant song and staged fairly superbly, I thought, and it still didn't make the cut. I think that Asila Dancing on the Ice, it's out. It couldn't be more out. It's dead on arrival for me. I know that it's very slick, it's very polished, it's very radio friendly. The juries could give it a push there, but I think that the overall package here is lacking any memorability. I think that it's lacking longevity, and I think that it's not going to stand out. And again, I can't, I mean, comparing it to the entries of Belgium of recent years that they didn't go through, and those that are mentioned are just a few. I mean, there was Elliot, Wake Up, that was excellent, didn't make the final. Even a matter of Senek, A Matter of Time, 2018, didn't make the final. Listen to that song. Is that song for the semis or for the final? I think it's for the final, and it didn't go through. So comparing this to those songs, I mean, I can't see this going through. I don't see a path for this. I think it's out. The next country that I think is out, unfortunately, is San Marino. I say unfortunately because I love Zenit. I think Adrenalina is one of... It's just such a banger. It's one of the finest entries of San Marino, and if last year's entry, which was sort of... I liked it. I thought it was really entertaining, and I like the song. It's got a good rhythm, and I like it. And that came 10th. This Superstar, I mean, it's a proper gay anthem. I love this. There's something very queer positive, but also there's something so embracing, and there's something so appealing about it. There's also the inclusion of Boy George, which is so exciting, and I can't wait to see if he actually performs at the Eurovision stage. But I think that comparing this to Zenit's previous entry is a step down, and San Marino is such a... it's a country that always struggles, and it only goes through whenever we see progress, not, stepping down its game. So this being a case of stepping down, this is not a very good sign, and I could see this being swallowed. And I know that it sort of has a favorable running order position, but still I think that it's going to struggle to stand out. I do like the song. I enjoy it. And again, LGBTQ anthem, all about it. But yeah, I think that it's going to struggle. It's going to really struggle, and I'm afraid that it's one of the countries that I think are a little bit dead on arrival, which shouldn't, because I like the song. But hey, it is what it is. And then the final country that I think, yes, the final country that I think is out is Poland. I'm really bummed that Alicia is finally getting her flowers. I mean, she was going to represent Poland in 2020. That contest got cancelled because of the pandemic, and she never got to perform at Eurovision. And I believe she's the only artist that was going to perform. Oh, that's not actually true, but she's one of the few artists that didn't actually earn a spot, a chance to perform at the 2021 Eurovision. Didn't happen. Rafal with that song, The Ride. I love that. That is a total guilty pleasure for me. It's actually very well produced track. Actually, I like it. And Pray, one of my least favorite entries of this year. I'm sorry. It's dull. It's plodding. It has a few. The saving grace here is her voice. Her voice is bonkers extraordinary, and she performs it with firm power and much more control than the way that she performed her previous entry, Empires, which was a better song, even though it wasn't suited for her age and her voice. I do see progress here as a performer, but the song here is disjointed and just plods along. I mean, I can hardly imagine it grabbing people's attention. I mean, some more, I don't know, faith-driven people might see the appeal here, but I mean, Amen from Anna Soklic, that didn't go through, and that song, I think, is much better than this. There was a vision there, and I love Anna Soklic's deeper, more seasoned vocal performance. I mean, Alicia, it has a soul, sort of a gospel opening, and then it goes very R&B, and then she has a rap section, and I mean, visually there is a minimalist sort of vision there, but sonically and in terms of its production, I think that it's completely inconsistent and lacking in any sort of, I think, catchiness. There is nothing about it that indicates that it's going through. And Poland does have lots of diaspora, and Lithuania is in this, right? Is the UK in this? I don't believe so. No, it's not. But still, I think that even the diaspora vote is not going to save this. I mean, it didn't save Luna, and it didn't save other Polish entries that didn't go through. Poland doesn't always go through. So, Alicia, I'm sorry, you're out. So there are a few countries that I have not talked about that I'm on the fence about. And right now I have, wait a second, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 countries I think are in. So that leaves us with 4 countries that I must pick as my final 4 slots. The first country that I've not talked about is Croatia. I think that Croatia has a very good chance of qualifying. The problem here is that the countries that I think are going through are mostly countries that are competing in the first half of the first semi-final, and that leaves us with only a few countries that I can choose from, 1 or 2 actually, from the remaining countries of the first half, because not all countries from the first half can go through. That's just something that statistically has never proven a wise prediction. And that leaves us with a field of other borderline entries from the second half of the semifinal that now have a better chance of qualifying because they are in the second half and it's a much less competitive and crowded half. So is Croatia the one or the one of the two songs that I'm going to choose? Perhaps. I can see definite jury appeal here, televote appeal as well. It's a very proper epic. There's an epic quality to it. I don't respond to it. I think Lelek, they did actually compete at Dora, which is the national selection of Croatia, I believe last year or the year before, I don't remember, with another song that was in English actually, and listening to Andromeda back to back with that other song, they are so, I mean, Andromeda is so derivative of that. I mean, it's basically the same song but in Croatian, which I don't appreciate it. Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, that generally is something that I agree with, but here I don't think that it applies because artists have to, I mean, they can do the same thing over and over again, but it's such a distinct sound. It was so, the novelty for me is gone, for me personally, but people are not going to know about that. I mean, watching it for the first night, I can see people being very impressed with the vocal power and the general very empowering energy of the song, and it's a very, arresting and visually and sonically very arresting total package. And I'm on the fence about this. Let's talk about the next country that I've not talked about, and it's Portugal. I think Portugal has a chance of the juries sort of rescuing this because televoters are not going to go for it, I'm sure. Is it going to be enough? I don't know. I think that Portugal might actually not qualify this time, but I've also historically have proven wrong by Portugal because Black Mamba, what was that? Love is on the Line? Yes, didn't like that song at all. For me, it's unlistenable. But it went through, right? Left side of the scoreboard, I believe. I mean, amazing. Performed very well at the contest. And then last year, Deslocado, that was maybe the one song that I was sure beforehand that it was not going through. And when it went through over other songs that I love, like Cyprus and other songs and Azerbaijan, and I mean, those entries that I responded to didn't qualify and Portugal did. And so, yes, I think that Portugal historically has, I have completely overlooked it over and over again, but that didn't happen with actually one of my favorite Portuguese entries, which was 2019 Con Osiris, and that didn't make it through. So, generally the rule should be, if I like a Portuguese entry, it doesn't go through, and if I don't like it, it goes through. That's actually kind of funny. But Rosa, I'm middling about it. So it's also borderline in that sense. But ultimately, I think that it's a bit too quiet, too peaceful. That could be its strength as well. We saw that with Deslocado. Yeah, let's move on. I'll give you at the end my final lineup, I promise. So the next country that I've not talked about is Georgia. Now, the Georgian song on replay might read as shallow and lyrically uninspired at first, but if you look and hear closely, there's actually a very valuable message about the digital world and us being so fixated on the maximum engaging and on the basically algorithm of social media. I'm not sure what the right term is, and the song is about that. It tackles those issues which issues I think are very urgent and timely and very valuable, and it's just such a catchy tune, and I can listen to it, and it has a fairly beautiful message behind it, which sort of makes it even more appealing for me. I like the Georgian entry, and I'm really happy because at first, when I first listened to it, I was a bit worried that it might fall into the category of noisy songs, but it actually stood out for me. Every spin had me even more drawn to it. So yes, I like it. I really like it. I give it a 7, I think. A 7 out of 10. Yes, I like this entry. And Georgia has struggled. Firefighter Nutsa, that was the last entry that went through, and the other ones have just been one non-qualifier after the other. And I think that on replay is going to sort of surprise perhaps people. And I can see this actually going through based on the strength of the song and of potentially the performance. So it might actually be one of the ones that I'm going to pick as the qualifiers. And then Montenegro, Nova Zora. I love Nova Zora. It's such a proper club banger. It's in my top 10, I believe. I really like that song, that entry. I really like it. Does it go through? It should, according to the fact that I like it so much. But there's something about it that just the running order position is just, it's sandwiched between Finland and, well, Estonia isn't really that much of a favorite there, but coming after Finland, that's tough. That's going to be tough. And Montenegro has really struggled, and culminating all of that, I think that it becomes borderline for me. And then Estonia, I think that has a very dated feel to it, and I know that a lot of people have not embraced this, but actually I think that there's an audience for it, and I'm one of this audience, and hey, I think that it's catchy, and it's in the second half, so I actually have to pick something, or mostly choose from the second half, for the reason that I explained before, previously on this video. So yeah, I think that Estonia has a chance of inching forward. And finally, Lithuania, very memorable visuals, catchy song. I do think that the song is good, it's not just catchy visuals and then the song is just in the background. I think that it's actually a fairly memorable melody, and yeah, it's going to stand out. It has the diaspora vote. It has Poland. Yeah, I think that it could be a definite lock, but the outre, the out there quality of it all, just makes me have it as a borderline. But when it comes to choosing who do I think is going through, of the countries that I have talked about as potential borderlines, I have 4 countries to pick, and the first one that I choose as my prediction of it going through is actually Lithuania. Yes, I think that Lithuania has enough for it to indicate its qualification, and I actually have it at number 7, I believe. Yeah, it's going through. It's going through. And then the other one that I am choosing. Yes, it's Georgia. I think that Georgia is a borderline qualifier, maybe number 10, but I think that ultimately they're going to pull it off and qualify for the grand final. Yeah. I have to pick something from the second half, and the one country that we're left with, or the two countries actually, are Montenegro and Estonia. So I'm between these two. Do I just pick these two and call it a day? Maybe. There's something about Estonia here. There's something in the air about Estonia. In the past few days, I've been thinking about, can Estonia make it through based on the appeal, the niche appeal of that song? There's an audience for it, as I mentioned, and Montenegro has really, really struggled, brutally struggled the past few years. I believe they've gone through twice in the grand final in the entire span of their participation. And there have been other Montenegrin entries that I believe were more than worthy of going through. 2018, are you kidding me? That was a top 10 material song. I love that song. It's beautiful, beautiful song. And yeah, even last year I thought there was room for it. That voice, Nina Zizic, that voice was not for the semifinal, but it didn't go through. So yeah, I think even Slavko Kalazic with Space, I thought that was a really fun, proper anthem. I like that as well. So yes, I think that Tamara Zivkovic, Nova Zora, will struggle, and it might actually come 11th, which doesn't count, obviously. So there's something in the air about Vanilla Ninja, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and predict Estonia as a borderline qualifier. So finally, I have to choose between Croatia and Portugal here. I think that I'm letting too much of my bias here with Croatia, and having heard their previous entry at Dora, and this being so similar to it, affect my judgment, because people who have not heard it will definitely, and if I hadn't heard it, I might actually have been more supportive of it. So in that sense, I think that it could go through, and similarly to how Poland last year went through with that was barely a song. Was it a song? Did it have a chorus? I don't remember, but had really arresting visual sort of presentation. So it moved, it inched through. So with better vocals and a more memorable hook and a more haunting sort of vibe, I think that Croatia is the one to go through, and perhaps the quietness and almost a bit too subtle quality of Portugal might work against it, but it could also work in its favor, and that's where I'm really, really struggling. But in the end, I think that Croatia is a more compelling choice as a prediction. So finally, the 10 countries that I think are going through from the first semi-final to the grand final of Eurovision 2026 are Moldova, Sweden, Croatia, Greece, Georgia, Finland, Estonia, Israel, Lithuania, and Serbia. And that is a wrap. Thanks so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Also, make sure to follow me on multiple social media platforms, including Letterboxd, for more film-related content, and the Awards Expert app for real-time Oscar predictions. The links are in the description. Can't wait for more coffee breaks. And until next time, pour yourself a fresh one.